Alright, today we're going to tackle a crazy idea. Can we convert this old broken Power Wheels into a legit sim racing rig for a kid? Specifically for my son. Okay, so this is the old Power Wheels I managed to find. It was a bit broken. So initially what I tried to do was actually hook it up to a Ryobi battery to see if I can get this thing running. It did ran pretty fast as well, but I think I blew the motor. So rather than fixing this again and putting a new motor in, what the plan is to somehow incorporate a Logitech G29 and get this thing so it's ready to race. So cool thing is it's already got the seat. It's even got a little seat belt, which is kind of cool. Obviously the steering wheel, we're going to be switching it out. I've got the original Logitech G29 wheel, which depending on how everything fits, we might be able to get this to fit in there. The base is going to be a bit of a weird one. As you can see, it's a bit bigger. So it's quite large. What my plan is to cut some of this out in order for me to be able to fit the base in. Once the steering wheel goes in, it actually goes in a bit closer as well, and then you retain the full functionality. Next thing we're going to do is somehow fit the pedals in here. So we've got the Logitech G29 pedals there. I'm thinking we can obviously even take the pedals out. I've done that before on a past project, but I have seen some other guys, this is filthy, I've got to clean it all out. I've seen some other guys basically do a bit of surgery, cut this floor out and maybe mount the pedals underneath so that we can get everything going. But yeah, otherwise that's pretty much the plan. I think the next step here is to take this thing apart and maybe start planning out where I'm going to cut. Alright, so to make this thing work, we're going to need to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to find a way to be able to mount the steering wheel to the car, make sure it's all secure. Next thing we're going to do is make sure we find a way to mount the pedals to the car, maybe have to cut the floor out to be able to do that. Next thing we're going to do is make sure that the seating position is nice and comfortable. And finally, we're going to figure out how we're going to mount the screen so that he can view it correctly as well. So yeah, a bit to do. I think I should plan it before I start getting cutting. Okay, so this is the rough plan. Terrible drawing, I know. But I'm thinking if this is the seat here, what we're going to probably try and do, if I can figure this out, is to cut the floor like this. So that way we can fit the pedals under here. Have the whole pedal box sitting under there. That's probably what we're going to need to do there. On the side where we've got the windshields, is we're going to have to cut that off so that we can fit the base. If we look at the base, we can mount the base here that has the steering wheel connected. So if you look at that, really going to cut that top bit, the windshield off, and then cut the floor to be able to fit the pedals in. Alright, so on further inspection, it looks like this thing actually pops out. So don't even need to cut it, which is kind of cool. I think that's it there. Oh, that easy. Alright, cool. So windshield's out. Looks like there's just a couple screws here. So we'll take this thing out. I think there's a whole bunch of electronics under here too. So I'll take these screws off. I want to get rid of all these wires as well, or any additional wires that are here. Alright. Okay, so that looks like it's connected to this. So there's a screw here. Why is that spinning? that's kind of stuck. Gotta figure out why that's stuck. Looks like there's a 8mm bolt. This might take a while. That's spinning. The whole thing's spinning. Alright, gonna need another screwdriver. Alright, good news is I don't think I'm going to be using any of these wires, so I'm going to cut them. And then I'll take them all out afterwards. Alright, cool. So that's our basic little shell. Next thing I'm going to do is try and figure out how to get rid of this shaft and the pedal assembly and get rid of all these wires. Alright, so I'll flip this thing over. Looks like a whole bunch of screws and spider webs. I'm hoping I don't have to take these wheels off. Looks like I can just take this, it's like a fender liner. And I can remove the steering column and get rid of all those wires. Looks like I'm gonna have to take that off anyway so I can get access to the pedals. Alright, see how we go. Hopefully this side is as easy as the last side. Just don't want to break these caps because they're kind of cool. Alright, that's good. Put that one here as well. There's another washer on the back. Gotta remember that, and I'll start taking these screws off. I should be able to take this liner off. Okay, so it looks like there's about 14 screws holding this liner in. I think I've got all of them. So with any luck, this thing just pops out. Sweet. There's way more electronics than I thought there were in there. Alright, so that looks like that's the steering column. I might want to find a way to fix that so then the wheels stay still. And I reckon that's the beautiful, that easy. That's the steering column now. Taken out. I'm going to leave that there. In the meantime, I'm probably going to work on all these electrics and figure out there's so much oil. There's so much oil or moisture in here. That's probably why it was all playing up. I'm going to rip all of this out. I'll probably keep these LEDs for the front, but everything else can go. All of these electronics can get ripped out. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, taking all the screws out of this thing. Now it's pretty much just going to be cutting these electronics out because I'm going to keep these LEDs for the headlights. And I'm just going to rip all of these out, and that's going to be most of the wiring sorted, and we can get this thing back inside and start mocking up where we need to cut. Awesome. Alright, so putting on the final wheel back on, I've taken out all of the electronics, so that looks pretty good. Gonna get this wheel back on, and then pretty much gonna have to mark up where I'm gonna cut the base to be able to fit everything in. So it is running pretty smoothly at the moment. Hopefully it stays that way. Okay, so that's all the electronics out. We ripped everything out and I've just mocked up the screen. We're also going to try and mock up the pedals and the steering wheel location, and I'm obviously going to start trying to get it all cutting and work out how I'm actually going to build the rest of this thing. But I think that's enough for today's video. The next video is going to be me putting together or cutting the floor, putting together the steering wheel, finally mounting all of that as well as the pedals, and maybe hopefully getting this thing in action so we can actually test it out to see if it works. I will have to need to test fit baby boy to see if he fits into this thing as well. and where we're going to mount the steering wheel exactly. Again, for his age at the moment. In the meantime, I've actually got to go look after him because my wife needs a nap, and we'll get going. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and hope you like the video.